He wants immunity.
And we're now learning that FBI agent Peter Strzok played a larger role in the Clinton probe than originally thought.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today that job openings outnumber those that are unemployed.
The data's never looked better for the president. As much as the media don't want to talk about the accomplishments, they're starting to get through.
As a result of unprecedented obstruction, I've canceled the August recess. We have a lot of important work to do.
A writer for Rolling Stone may have gone beyond the pale, writing, "I wish I didn't suspect that the prolonged, poorly explained public absence of Melania Trump could be about concealing abuse."
We stand together for patriotism, and we proudly stand for our glorious nation under God.
From the mountains.
That's not real, Brian. Don't lie.
But welcome to New York. This would be a great way, like the Mets could take
Brian,
this
you're
song.
showing your age right now. Be careful.
Really? When did she write that?
Well, remember when she was 13 years old, she was on those stairs right over there.
I love that
Taylor
story.
Swift was on Fox and Friends. It was one of her first
We gave her her
appearances.
start, Steve.
Whatever happened
She
to
should
her?
give us credit.
She was stuck in country music at the time.
Yeah. Then she went pop.
2014.
Yeah.
Wow.
That doesn't sound right.
Abby in for Ainsley, big show, a lot of revelations, twists and turns. Let's get started.
No kidding. Plus, let's talk politics. A wild primary night all across the United States, in a number of states, and the winners in California are already taking political potshots at each other.
A big-name Democrat and a Trump-backed Republican set for a showdown come November.
Well, that's the lead-in Griff Jenkins requested. Griff, how's that?
Thank you. It was fantastic.
Okay.
Good morning, guys. What a night. And they call it the jungle because the top two candidates advance regardless of party in the state where Democrats are planning to shape the battlefield. But in the gubernatorial race, the GOP would not be denied. Democrat Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom easily cruised to advance to the general election by putting President Trump front and center.
Voters will have a real choice this November between a governor who's going to stand up to Donald Trump and a foot soldier in his war on California. Mark my words, I've never backed down from a fight.
But Republican John Cox, who the president endorsed, kept the GOP from being shut out.
It wasn't Donald Trump who made California the highest tax state in the country. It was Gavin Newsom and the Democrats.
And Democrat hopes of riding a blue wave to retake the House majority are in question. Remember, Democrats need to pick up 23 seats nationwide. And nowhere do Democrats have a better shot than in 7 of California's Republican-held seats where Clinton won in 2016. But some are too close to call at this hour, where Democrats may get boxed out by Republicans in the top 2 spots. Finally, it wasn't just California. Voters in 7 other states cast ballots, including Alabama, Iowa, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota. A notable outcome, guys, near you, incumbent Democrat Senator Bob Menendez held on despite his recent trials. But a big, exciting night.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Griff, thank you very much. And, of course, the headline is the fact that since John Cox, a Republican, came in second in California, that means there's going to be a Republican at the top of the ticket, which will give Republicans in California a reason to go to the polls in November, because they thought if there are just 2 Democrats at the top, what's going to turn people out? Well, now Mr. Cox will get
Also a
people
sign
to
that
come out and
many
vote.
people in California want to change there. Change from higher taxes, sanctuary cities, moving in a different direction. So anything could happen in the midterms.
Meanwhile, 4 minutes after the top of the hour, out of the headline, anything can happen. How about this? In a time in which everyone's focused on Mueller and Trump and what happened at Trump Tower, there's this other story percolating beneath the surface that I wish Robert Mueller cared more about, and that is what was going on in the FBI during the 2 years when this election was happening. Now we find out that former Deputy Director Andy McCabe, who was fired days before he would get his pension, has a request through his lawyer. I would like immunity. Amongst the things I'd like to talk about is what I did and didn't do, and what I didn't do to inform James Comey about what was going on.
Right, exactly. What's happening is there are going to be some hearings next week up on Capitol Hill. They would like to hear from Mr. McCabe, but as a lawyer said, he needs immunity. I wonder why. Keep in mind, there was a story a while back that suggested that it was Mr. McCabe, the guy who got fired from the FBI, who told the agents to change your reports before you hand them in, because we want it to look a certain way.
Remember, he was the one that leaked information to the Wall Street Journal, a self-serving story, then lied about it. So his attorney's saying if he does not get immunity, that they're going to have to plead the Fifth. Makes you wonder what he will say if he does testify, and what that means for James Comey, of all people.
By the way, his attorney said, by the way, Mr. McCabe has an email to Mr. Comey that proves that he got permission to go ahead and leak to correct the record.
So that's all going on. Also, Peter Strzok, you know that name, right? The one with the romantic relationship with Lisa Page, who has now been demoted in the FBI. It's now been found out that he had a larger role in the Clinton and the Russia probes than anyone previously knew.
Well, we know about his biases. We've read from what we read of his text messages. There are more out there. When the IG report's released, we'll find out more. But now we find out this, and then we'll lay this out and let you put it into context in a second. Here is what's to his boss, a text message in response to a Josh Earnest press conference when they talk about the Hillary Clinton email situation. Below, not helpful. Certainly the White House is going to do whatever it wants. This is the Obama White House. But there is a line they need to hold with regard to the appearance of non-interference. I know I sound like Don King a little bit, but here's Josh Earnest and the presser he allegedly was watching when he sent out that text. Watch.
Can you say with certainty and confidence that Secretary Clinton will not be indicted because of this email scan?
That will be a decision that is made by the Department of Justice and prosecutors over there. What I know that some officials over there have said is that she is not a target of the investigation.
The key there is when in Mr. Strzok's message, he said we need to hold the line in regard to the appearance of non-interference. In other words, we don't want people to know what's going on behind the scenes. And that was a message to Bill Priestap, who apparently appeared before the Government Reform Oversight Committee and Judiciary yesterday. And there he is walking in.
Priestap, who's head of espionage in the FBI. The big picture, though, is this IG report. And I think gives us all a better glimpse of what might come out. Whether it is this week or next week or the week after that, there could be a number of bombshells that come out from this report.
It does sound as if the IG report, which is 500 pages, is going to come out on June the 18th or the 19th. This will be about 10 days from right now. And apparently, and we've heard this as well, people are going through it at the Department of Justice and the FBI as well. And the suggestion from one of the president's tweets is that they're taking out the bad stuff. They're redacting some of the bad stuff to soften the blow of what happened at the Department of Justice and the FBI. That's why the president sent back that brushback pitch essentially to Mr. Horowitz and said, hey, hope nothing's happening with that IG report.
Yeah. The draft was released to the DOJ and FBI in the middle of May. They were supposed to be out. There's supposed to be a testimony this week. Then they said it's coming out the 11th. They said, wait a second, the 11th? We're going to be in Singapore. The whole country, whole world's going to be focused in Singapore. So now they're going to be waiting another week. The question is, under what pretext can they decide to sanitize an IG report, which was, I imagine, took a year to put together. They did very carefully, but is the DOJ going to say, well, we're worried about exposing operations, and practices?
Yeah. As Jason Chaffetz says, how can you bury something that is so incredibly important? So we will keep our eye on this very closely, but something that is important to every single American out there is the economy and how well it is doing. And we are now getting some new numbers. And the first time we're seeing this since we've been recording job numbers, there are more job openings than there are number of people unemployed. Take a look at these numbers, 6.7 million openings to 6.35 million workers that are unemployed. So that is a good for every American, but also for companies that could potentially give more people raises.
Well, sure. That means if you want a job in this country, there's a job waiting for you if you want it. Ultimately, it could result in people getting paid more for the jobs they do, but nonetheless, as long as they've been keeping records, they've never had a situation like this, which speaks well to that big jobs number that came out last week. By By the way, the big job openings there are 1.3 million job openings in business services industries. And if you're interested in healthcare or social services, 1.2 million job openings as of this morning.
You know, I add a couple of things to this. Wage growth has been slow compared to how quickly how great the economy is going. Maybe this will raise
supply and demand.
The other thing is, if these jobs are open, and when I was in Indianapolis last year, I can't tell you how many people told me we have so many jobs unfilled. That gives a need for immigration.
Yeah.
Legal immigration to fill the jobs that are opening to help business owners here. If there's a way to reform our immigration system to get people on green cards that do it the right way and get that line lower, this is the time to do it. We agree on 70% of it, Democrats and Republicans. The problem is the wall, illegals, DACA, and immunity. The rest we get.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're already at 3.8% unemployment. Can you imagine getting down to 2%? Either way, we're in a great spot right now. Those are some very good numbers.
You know who's not unemployed?
Jillian Mealy?
Jillian.
No, I'm not.
Right.
As we know.
It would be a problem if I were unemployed,
I had to
though.
toss to an empty slot.
Good morning to you
Jillian,
guys.
how are you?
Good morning to you at home. Let's get you caught up on some of the stories we're following. History is about to be made at Singapore's Capella Hotel. The luxury resort will play host to President Trump's June 12th summit with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. President Trump is expected to stay at the hotel, which sits on a secluded island that once served as a pirate hideout. Also coming along for the summit, Basketball Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman. The New York Post reports Rodman, who is friends with Kim Jong-un, could play a role in the talks. We'll keep you updated. Secret Service agents busting a White House contractor wanted for attempted murder. Martise Edwards taken into custody at a checkpoint as he headed to work. He had an outstanding warrant after he reportedly shot his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. Right now, it's unclear exactly what he was working on at the White House. The head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Doug Peterson, expected to address his team's canceled visit to the White House today. The president disinvited the Super Bowl champs after only a small number of players planned to show up. The White House calls the team's move a political stunt over the NFL's national anthem protests. Instead, President Trump hosted an event celebrating America at the White House. Today marks the 74th anniversary of D-Day. Americans across the country will honor the thousands who fought and died in the battle at Normandy. An estimated 2,500 Americans were killed storming the French beaches in 1944. It was one of the most pivotal moments in World War II, leading to the liberation of France from Nazis and signaling a beginning to the end of the war. Let's look at your headlines.
74 years ago today.
Yep.
Thank you, Jillian.
All right, 12 minutes after the hour. I'm going to thank Jillian in the break. We didn't have time.
The media attacks against Melania Trump have hit a whole new low. One writer just implied the president is beating her. We kid you not. You bet Tomi Lahren has something to say about that. She's next.
And Congress is still waiting for answers on the FBI's Russia investigation. Our next guest has some big questions like what did the FBI know and when did they know it? Our Congress is still waiting for answers on the FBI's Russia investigation, and in a new op-ed calls on the agency's director to explain how the investigation started in the first place, comparing the probe to Watergate. Our next guest asks, what did the FBI know and when did it know it? Bill McGurn wrote that in Wall Street Journal. He's also a Fox News contributor. Good morning to you.
Hi.
You know what? These are troubling days at the FBI, aren't they?
They're very troubling days. Look, every day we learn something new, and it doesn't look good. And the interesting thing is we have two investigations, two scandals. Hillary Clinton email, Russia investigation. And it's the same cast of characters in both investigations.
And one of the things you say in your op-ed is, you know, we've got Director Christopher Wray. He's been very clear. I'm going to do everything I can to help Congress. And
he's been in his statements.
That's what he
very
says.
Clear.
But he's playing a double game.
Right. He made an end run around the early on this year when he went to the Speaker's office to try to prevent, coughing up information. Chairman Nunes had subpoenaed. And I think also at a hearing in December, he kind of suggested that he couldn't share this information with Congress because it's classified. It just gets the arrangement backwards. The FBI and every federal agency is accountable ultimately to we the people acting through our elected representatives.
One of the other things is you address, we don't know why things got started.
Right.
Ultimately, that's what Congress is trying to get.
Right.
They want to see the scope memo. They want to see the FISA stuff. But the FBI and the DOJ say, sorry, that's off limits.
And I think that's a big deal in the sense that this is a story with a cast of thousands: Christopher Steele, Stephen Halper, the different FBI agents, Andy McCabe. But we don't know how it started. And the FBI and DOJ has been very resistant in providing the documents that would let us know how and why this started.
Why is that?
Well, you have to wonder what what it looks like is that the official start of the investigation, July 31st, was not really the start of that they were looking into someone
the president
like
tweeted something to that effect out yesterday.
Right. Carter Page was contacted about a conference where he met Stephen Halper.
Right.
And he was contacted about this in May. Now, it wasn't Halper that contacted him, but, it was a group that he was helping and putting on the conference.
Ultimately, the more, and there are a million, it's like we're putting together a puzzle.
Right.
There are a million pieces on this table, and we've heard a little piece about here and here and here, and it's starting to all come together. But ultimately, it kind of makes the FBI look really political, at least somebody there.
If you remember, Devin Nunes has not said what he saw when he read the electronic communication that officially launched the investigation. But he did say it didn't have intelligence in it. It didn't seem to be based on an intelligence product. And that's a troubling question. Also, it should be a big deal to investigate a campaign or get a FISA warrant on an American citizen. And it looks like this was done more casually than should have been.
And there are people around the President of the United States who say this was simply, at its origin, a brazen plot to doom Donald Trump.
Right. Well, we don't know that, but it's troubling to hear an FBI agent talk about an insurance policy, right?
Your dad was an FBI agent for years.
Right. And so I have a lot of affection for the FBI because I know great men and women that were agents and are agents and so forth. But at the top, this leadership, I think, has just been scandalous.
Chris Wray could fix it today. Just call up those guys in Congress and say, okay, I got him right here. You want to read it? Here it is.
He could. He could do this by, he gave in his press release that I'm doubling the number of staff. That's an input. Right. The question is the output. Are you giving us access, right?
And so far, no.
So far, no.
All right, Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Read all about it in the Wall Street Journal. By the way, we reached out to the FBI for a statement. They declined. Meanwhile, in other news, ICE launching one of the biggest raids in years. Details on the massive bust coming up. And we've been telling you about this story, a woman whose life was saved thanks to a doctor watching her on TV.
My name is
She's going to
Nicole.
join us live next. It is 6:24 now here in New York City. We've got some quick Wednesday morning headlines for you. It's official. Disgraced Army deserter Bo Bergdahl will get 0 prison time. A commanding general approving his sentence for leaving his post in Afghanistan back in 2009. Bergdahl also got a dishonorable discharge, which he will appeal. Of course, he was a Taliban prisoner for 5 years before President Obama traded 5 Gitmo terrorists for his release. And a soldier is in custody after stealing a military vehicle and leading police on a bizarre chase. It all started when he drove off Fort Pickett Army National Guard base in Virginia. The chase topping out at just 40 miles per hour. The soldier surrendered about 2 hours later. He has not yet been charged, but you can imagine he's in trouble. All right, Abby, Brian?
Thank you, Steve. All right, going on a reality show just might have saved this woman's life. Nicole McGinnis recently appeared on the HGTV show's Beachfront Bargain Hunt to celebrate the end of her brain cancer treatments.
Yeah, but one eagle-eyed viewer, Dr. Eric Voigt, spotted a lump on her neck and put out a call on Facebook to warn her it could be serious. Nicole got checked out and is now undergoing treatment for thyroid cancer, but there's more to that story.
Yeah, Nicole McGinnis joins us right now to share more of this incredible story. Nicole, really great to have you on with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So you have already survived a brain tumor. I mean, what you've already been through in life. Walk us through this story because of this doctor who was so determined to find you and let you know he was concerned about a lump on your neck. He might have just saved your life.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for Dr. Voigt. My mother's friend found the post that he posted on Facebook and immediately sent it to us. We had it checked out immediately. I saw my primary care doctor that exact day and had a biopsy last week. Friday, the results came back, and I do have papillary thyroid cancer. But I'm just so forever grateful for Dr. Voigt for catching that, for being vigilant, and for reaching out to me.
I mean, just to think about the how this happened. I mean, here is an NYU doctor who just happens to be watching a reality show. You don't usually think of elite physicians and reality shows, but he is watching this, and then he's determined to get a hold of you, and he can't find you on Facebook. So he just posts something, hoping it will find you. So when they finally got a hold of you and you check this out, you must feel like the luckiest person around.
Yes, I feel extremely blessed. As you've mentioned previously, I have already survived a grade 4 glioblastoma and never anticipated having to be a 2-time cancer survivor, especially 2 cancers in 2 years. But it's just, in my opinion, a miracle that he saw it and was able to reach out to me, and that I had it checked out immediately.
But still, Nicole, no one wants to find out this news. No one wants to find out they have cancer. What does the road look like ahead for you?
On Friday, I visit a ENT surgery at Duke University for a consult appointment, and I assume that we will set up a surgery in the near future. I have been told by many friends and family, and Dr. Voigt especially, that this treatment should be a little easier than my treatment for glioblastoma, and hopefully really just surgery and maybe some treatment after the surgery, but not as extensive as the glioblastoma. So I'm looking forward to visiting the doctor on Friday and getting this taken care of.
And how do you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel like I've been blessed by Dr. Voigt and what he saw on television. I feel like everything happens for a reason, and maybe this was the reason that I was on the HGTV show.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly a message to people going through this experience. What's your message this morning?
My message is that there is always hope. I want to be an inspiration to folks who are suffering the similar circumstances, that don't give up. There's always hope. Have a positive attitude, because I think that makes a world of difference.
You are an inspiration, Nicole. Really great to have you on. We wish you all the luck in the world moving forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we'd like to keep in touch with you during the way. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up next as we move ahead over the next 90 minutes, primary results from California are coming in overnight. They're not all in, and it's looking good in some cases for Republicans. Is this a sign of things to come in November? Tomi Lahren just moved to Los Angeles. She is one of the few that wants to stay, and she joins us live from there next.
It's early there right now. All right, plus, say goodbye to IHOP. The Pancake House is now changing its name, and Twitter, as you can imagine, is flipping out.
I just hope they add more syrup flavors, because there's not enough. But first, happy birthday to our boxing friend, weekend co-host Pete Hegseth.
He's okay.
There is Pete. Is that Pete diving in the water?
I hope he eats a lot of bacon today.
And they stay there, and they stay there.
Then there were two. A field of more than 24 candidates for governor in California, pared down to a big-name Democrat and a Trump-backed Republican.
Democratic Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom and Republican businessman John Cox set for a showdown for a governor job in November.
Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein advances despite a number of challengers. It is looking like she will face fellow Democrat Kevin DeLeon, although votes are still coming in on that one. So let's now bring in Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren. Tomi, always good to have you with us.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good. So the big news out of last night, John Cox, Republican, going up for governor. I think it's a sign that there are a number of people in California that are wanting some real change.
Well, you know, we didn't expect huge victories in the state of California, at least for the Republicans. We knew that that wasn't going to happen, but seeing a Republican on the ballot for governor, especially with the way that this state runs its primary, is significant for us. And it also shows that a Trump endorsement works, even in the liberal state of California. A Trump endorsement means something. I believe it has a lot to do with immigration, also taxes, regulations, but moving forward, we're going to have to fight, but we're ready to do it.
Well, one of the things, Tomi, is I know Republicans had worried that unless a Republican finished in the top 2, it would be 2 Democrats for that big state office. And then with the other congressional races and stuff like that, what would turn people out? Thankfully for the Republicans, they said last night, we've got a Republican at the top, and so people are going to go out and vote, and it's going to be better for us, and maybe that blue wave might be actually a little red.
Well, what I hope that yesterday and today and ongoing is going to show Republicans in this state is that we have to turn out, we have to be vocal, we have to make sure that we're voting. We succeeded yesterday in making sure that we have John Cox on the ballot, making sure that we can propel him forward, but that doesn't mean that the fight is over. We have to continue. He has to make sure that his messaging is very clear to Californians. We want to make a change. I think we're going to do it. It's going to be a tough battle. Right. We know in this state, Gavin Newsom is going to be the favorite, but we have a chance. For first time in a long time, we have a chance.
Well, here's the thing. In terms of the House, there's about 7 very contentious fights there. And a lot of people believe the House will go Democrat or Republican depending on what happens in California with Darrell Issa's seat and Dana Rohrabacher's seat. And so far, the jungle primary has not yielded solid Democrats or solid Republicans for that, but it got quite close because there's so many Democrats who felt as though they wanted to run for that seat. It diffused a lot of the votes, so it allowed Rohrabacher and others to stay up top.
Yeah, perhaps they got a little too excited with their blue wave and it actually ended up helping out some Republicans. But hey, there are some things in the state that we can look at, the small victories we're going to take. We have a California state senator who is facing recall because of his vote for, again, a higher gas tax. So that just shows that Californians are upset with the high taxes. We're upset with failed immigration policies and no border enforcement. We're tired of overregulation. We're tired of unaffordability. So this is a good sign, small victories, but we'll take them.
All right, tell me, a lot of folks in the media have been having a field day about where on earth Melania Trump is, and we might have just hit rock bottom with one reporter from the Rolling Stone, Jamil Smith. Let me just read you his tweet. He says, "I wish that I didn't suspect that the prolonged, poorly explained public absence of Melania Trump could be about concealing abuse. I wish that it was a ludicrous prospect. I wish that the president wasn't a man with a history of abusing women, including those to whom he is married." No sources, nothing to back this up. Welcome to 2018.
Well, by the way, that's not true, but go ahead.
Right.
Well, we hear journalists and we hear the mainstream media often complain that Trump attacks them, that Trump goes after them, that they're losing credibility because of this president. No, I'm sorry. They're losing credibility because of things like that. To advance something so ridiculous like that and put that out there with no sources, no facts, just to speculate on that, that's the reason that the American public does not trust the mainstream media, does not trust journalists. To put something out there like that, I don't care if you're anti-Trump. That's one thing. But when you go as far as to say that Melania might be abused and that's why we haven't seen her in a while and she's just suffered an illness and a surgery, that's ridiculous. And I hope the American people are looking at this and watching it as a further example of, again, Trump derangement syndrome.
All right. And just real quick, what would happen to that writer if they had said that about Michelle Obama?
Oh, that writer wouldn't be working anymore. There would be an outrage over this. But again, we know that the double standard is the only standard the left operates on. And they're really hurting themselves at the end of the day when they advance this ridiculousness. I think most Americans are smart enough to know that it's ridiculous. And they look at this, and this writer, I believe, has lost a lot of credibility because of it.
Yeah, unbelievable. This is not someone with an egg on Twitter. This is an actual...
blue check.
Someone that works for the Rolling Stone. Unreal. Tommy, good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you, guys.
All right. 22 minutes now before the top of the hour. And Jillian joins us with something that was a shocking story yesterday morning.
Yes, and I think a lot of people still waking up this morning surprised by the news about fashion icon Kate Spade, who, by the way, left behind a heartbreaking suicide note. The letter addressed to her 13-year-old daughter saying, quote, "I'll always love you. This is not your fault." Family members claim she struggled with depression for years. A housekeeper found her hanged from a red scarf in her New York City apartment. Brother-in-law, actor David Spade, paying tribute on Instagram, writing in part, "I still can't believe it." Kate Spade was 55 years old. ICE agents carrying out one of the largest workplace immigration busts in years. Nearly 200 armed agents arresting 114 suspected illegals after raiding a lawn and garden business in Ohio. Some are expected to be charged with identity theft and tax evasion. The raid comes as the Trump administration continues to target sanctuary cities while upholding a zero-tolerance policy at the border. A father capturing the very moment a bumper car bursts into flames, sending plumes of smoke towards kids that were just feet away. Well, this all going down at a theme park near the border between North and South Carolina. Thankfully, the driver got out before the fire. No one was hurt. No word on how that happened. All right. The International House of Pancakes is flipping its P for a B. IHOP announcing on Twitter that it will now be called IHOB, and we'll explain why on Monday. There's speculation the B will stand for breakfast, but the change isn't sitting well with some Twitter users. Some people are downright outraged. Grace tweeting, quote, "Someone sue IHOP for changing their name. What kind of anarchy is this?" And Sam writing, "This is stupid. I refuse to call it IHOB. You literally cannot make me." Oh, yeah, watch us make you.
You know what? It makes me... Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, this is insane. It's IHOP.
But it makes you question everything. Like, why was it ever the International House of Pancakes? What made it international?
Because they had pancakes from all over the world. But here's what I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be International House of Breakfast. I think it's going to be International House of Bacon, and it's going to be the biggest restaurant in the world. Bacon!
That people could get excited about.
Right?
Yeah. I agree with you. Who doesn't want more bacon,
I think it's going to be breakfast.
There you go. All right.
Well, let us know what you think. Friends at FoxNews.com. What do you think about that,
I
Jay?
just know this. If an IHOP goes out of business, it can't be replaced with another business because there's no other business that wants the triangle roof. Am I right? It's like you can't make it an insurance company. It'll say, what's this an IHOP?
Great point.
Does the official B happen?
Let's hop over to Janice with the weather.
Because I have like one of those gift cards that says IHOP on it. Will that still work?
That is a great question, Janice.
Call the lawyers.
Can we get breakfast on Monday at least when they announce the B?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
They're getting a lot of free promotion now,
They
aren't
really
they?
are.
Instead of the weather.
It worked. Okay, let's take a look at the weather, shall we? It's very hot across the central U.S. It's going to remain warm over the next couple of days. And with the heat indices, it's going to be dangerously hot. So be aware of that and be careful and make sure that you're indoors. Bring the pets inside and the kids and the air conditioning. Past 24 hours, we do have the potential for some showers and thunderstorms across the Gulf Coast, parts of the Northeast, as well as the central U.S. That's where we have the threat for hail, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes later on this afternoon, in through this evening, stretching from Minnesota back through Colorado and then parts of the northern Rockies as well. We have our first tropical storm of the Pacific season. This is Aletta. It is forecast to become a hurricane, but moving well away from land. That's the way we like it. International House of Bacon?
Delicious.
Bacon! No.
Bacon.
I just want to know if my gift card works.
International House of Brian. Could be.
Janice, Todd Pyro,
House
get
of
on
Brian?
it.
Yeah, it could be.
House of Brian, I like it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
With the pointy roof.
Read the pointy roof.
I will bet you $1. It's not International House of
Thank you, Janice.
All right, we'll see.
Would anyone go is the question.
That hurts my feelings. You had to say that? Harsh. Next time I'm going to listen to Gavin go right to break.
Well, have you ever had Brian make you a breakfast?
No, but it's a good excuse.
Right. I'm a big reheater. Meanwhile, straight ahead, Bill Clinton trying to apologize for his non-apology to Monica Lewinsky.
It looked like I was saying I didn't apologize and I had no intention to, and I was mad at me. It wasn't my finest hour.
Wow, this tour is going great, isn't it? Newt Gingrich here to react next hour.
Unreal. And President Trump set to sign a big health care bill to help our veterans later today. Todd Pyro is having breakfast with friends near the Military Academy in West Point.
International House of Todd.
I can see the banner on the courthouse flying, proud red, white, and blue.
All right, today, President Trump taking care of our nation's heroes. He's expected to sign a landmark bill giving veterans more health care choices at the VA.
He had promised that during the campaign. Fox and Friends correspondent Todd Pyro is live at Andy's Restaurant in Highland Falls, New York, just about a block from the U.S. Military Academy, also known as West Point, with reaction. Good morning to you, Todd.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, and when you want to talk about veterans issues, who better to talk to than veterans? And what better place to go to than West Point? I mean, if you've been up here, you know this place is an amazing place. And we're going to start off with John. John is an Army vet. John, thank you for your service. How important is the VA Mission Act?
It's very important because I think vets have been neglected for years, and I think Trump is doing a good job, and I just hope they do even more than they do. They haven't done enough, and they got a lot of catch up to do.
Does the VA Mission Act go far enough in your estimation?
No.
Okay, so you want to see more, even more done for our veterans.
And quicker. That's the main quicker. Appointments, get their appointments quicker, not being prolonged waiting for service.
Let's talk about the president. You said to me earlier, the president is doing an amazing job when it comes to veterans issues, when it comes to military issues. Why do you say that?
Well, maybe because I'm a vet. And I live next to West Point, so I'm really Army-oriented. In fact, I was born at West Point.
Okay, so you're happy with the job the president's
doing?
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
And with that in mind, yesterday, the Eagles were either disinvited from the White House or decided not to show. Whatever it was, there was a patriotic display at 3 p.m. instead. What was your reaction to that?
Well, he had the right to cancel out because I understand that the Eagles were supposed to be there and they said they were coming in force, and all of a sudden they cut down the numbers that are coming. But I think everybody has their individual right to vent what they feel. But sometimes when you're dealing with the country, you got to respect the country that you're living in. And I think the big problem is there are not enough men are in the service. A lot of these people that are demonstrating and stuff, how many men are in the service? They're not in the service. They don't know what it is.
John, thank you very much for your service. Very much appreciated. Let's go to Joe. Joe is a Marine Corps veteran. Joe, thank you for your service. You say you're very happy with VA care that you've received, but when you see horror stories from other people, other veterans not getting the care they receive, it makes you sick. What needs to be done?
Well, they need to be more, active in it. Whenever anybody goes to get any treatment or anything like that, they shouldn't have to wait a year, even 2 years to get any treatment. It should be taken care of when they go there. I mean, that's where all the problems are. And like I said before, most of the problems are in the Midwest. But up here, like I said, Montrose and Castle Point do a very good job on taking care of the vets. I mean, I haven't really heard any horror stories out of here in a really, really long time.
Understood. So. All right, Joe, thank you for your service. Thank you all for your service. Obviously, when you come up to an area like West Point, the history and the sacrifices made by so many people, it just tugs at you, and you realize why veterans' issues are so important. Back to you guys in New York.
Just up the Hudson River, about 40 miles. Todd, thank you very much.
All right, one of the president's biggest critics tweeting he was heckled and booed at the White House celebration of America. One problem, he wasn't heckled and booed at the White House celebration of America. Did she apologize or just delete the tweet?
And look for a great gift for Father's Day, are you? Well, how about luggage more than 80% off? Mega Morning Deals with Janice and Ainsley and Megan coming up.
All right, it is time for some exclusive savings for Fox and Friends viewers.
Megan Meany is here with Mega Morning Deals, and Father's Day is coming up, Megan. So tell us, what do you have for us?
Oh, I have so much. So be sure to look for the Mega Morning Deals icon on the Fox and Friends website to get all these deals, starting with the Cutter and Buck golf shirts. These are a classic. They're in all the pro shops around the world. They have this dry tech fabric, so they whisk the moisture away, keep you nice and cool when you're playing golf, but they're nice enough that you could probably wear them to the office on a casual Friday. They come in all these great colors. They're only $18 today, so you are saving up to 70%.
So it absorbs sweat, which I need for my husband.
And keeps you cool, so you won't get hot when you're active.
Speaking of,
and if you do smell,
shower in a bag.
We have the Anthony Men's skincare kits. There's 2 of them. One of them is a head-to-toe kit of skincare products. There's a kelp body scrub. There's an award-winning all-in-one body wash and shampoo. And then there's also a shaving kit that also has a glycolic cleanser for the face. The shaving kit has an oil before you shave, the shaving cream, and then a ingrown hair treatment. They come in these DOP kits, great for Father's Day.
How much are these?
They typically, believe it or not, go for $114, but not for you guys. $35 today. That's a savings of 69% off.
I love it.
2 great Father's Day gifts. Now, check out these alpaca scarves. They are as soft as cashmere, but they're breathable, hypoallergenic silk and alpaca. They sell these at Barney's, ladies, okay? And they come in all these great colors, 83% off today, only $49.
Whoa.
If you're putting away your winter clothes, these vacuum bags are awesome. 70% more room in your suitcase. Look at all these clothes. They all fit in one of these.
Perfect for
So if you're an
Manhattan
overpacker like me, and it comes with this little suction, you don't even need your vacuum.
That is
Those
fabulous.
are $28, 60% off
Speaking
today.
of traveling,
Yeah.
look at this.
Now, these are the clothes. They go into the bags. That's how much can fit in these things.
All right, let's get
Okay,
to the
and then
suitcases.
finally the luggage we saw a little earlier. I love about the carry-on. There's a 3-piece set, Olympia. They've got the 360 wheels, but this one has a little secret pocket for the carry-on, so you can grab your laptop. And then it has 2
I
check-in
love that.
sizes, 20%
And
more
light.
packing room, and they don't weigh anything,
I mean,
right?
if Janice and I could
all
pick
these
these
great
up,
colors.
you're good.
And another great deal on those today. You can get those for, they go all the way up to $680, but they're only starting at $119 if you go to Mega Morning Deals on the
And you know
Fox
what?
and Friends
It's Jeff's
website.
first
We have all your
Father's Day.
summer travel stuff. We got Father's Day, and we got more coming.
My husband's first Father's Day this year.
Oh, that's so
I gotta
exciting.
get on it. Pressure is on. This
Girlfriend,
is great, though.
you do all the work.
More
don't you,
deals
though?
later, Megan, right? Thank you so much.
Yes, more later.
All right, coming up on the show, Newt Gingrich, Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk, and a lot more. They're all here live. You don't want to miss it on this Wednesday morning. Fox and Friends.